my gosh. Where to begin? Oh, okay, so it's been a little bit, let me say, a week since I watched the show. I know I wanted to give my thoughts on the finale. Honestly, I just feel like it shouldn't have ended the way that, like, semi cliffhanger kind of thing. I don't know. But I feel like there's so much more they could tell with, you know, what's her name? Claire. Yeah, Claire. With Claire leaving and going, like doctors do the whole. I don't know about every doctor, but I'm saying like some of them do the whole, mission thing. Like they go out to different countries that are unable to afford, their services and stuff, and just offer the services for free, part of the mission and everything. So when they all went, the place that they went, I don't remember. I know I should have, did this all the same day that I was finished because I had like a whole list of stuff to say, but with all that time that passed, kind of forgot a little bit of some of the key details I knew I wanted to share. But let's see. So she left when they went on the tour and on the mission and everything. You've seen a lot of people that need help, but they could only stay there for a short period of time, so they had to take the most severe cases of people, right? So everybody else was really sad to see them, in pain and, having this stuff happen to them that they have no control over and all that stuff. Some of them were still grateful, even though they were not chosen to be examined and fixed and all that. They were still grateful that they were all able to, that they were still able to see them, and see what was wrong and everything. Let's see. So after all that was done, it's like the person in charge of it and everything was like, "Hey, Claire, you know what? I really want you to stay. Like, instead of going back to the U.S. with everybody else, like, she literally stayed." It was so crazy. Because, she's been through a lot the whole time. Can't believe the guy passed in the third season. Oh, he was one of the head doctors. Oh, I don't remember anybody's name. Let's put it in the description below. You guys could check that out. So he passed. Claire had just started falling for him, and he passed away. And then all that, past tense, and then fast forward into the last season. They went out. She saw like a lot of people need help and all that stuff. When they were done with that, they asked her to stay. She stayed. She said goodbye to everyone. You guys know the other girl that was she's always pissing off everybody and trying to get ahead, trying to one up everybody all the time. She and always like seemed like so cold hearted. In the end, she wasn't able to be a surgeon like she wanted because she had arthritis in her hands and everything, and she was just unable to do any surgery because her hands are messed up. So there's a procedure that she could have done to help her, to be able to do surgeries and stuff. But remember the other guy, Murphy's mentor, remember he was in charge. He's still the president and stuff. He advised her not to take the surgery, right? But she's like, yeah, I'm a surgeon. It's what I do. Like, I don't care if I have a short period of time to do a few surgeries, whatever. It's worth it. Even though after that, hands are gonna be aching because it'll be like no muscle in between the bone and all that stuff. Like, it was just a whole mess of things. But she was so cold-hearted in the beginning and everything. But it was so crazy to see her switched up and changed a whole demeanor, her whole mentality and everything towards the end of the season, towards the end of the whole show and everything. Because of the other guy that was a former cop and everything. He was going through some things. He had a divorce, all that stuff. And he ended up getting together with her, even though she's also getting on his nerves a lot. So it seems like even if they banter and bicker and fight and all that stuff, they still kind of like liked that the one always challenged the other, basically. And yeah, so they fell for each other soon after she asked him to move into her apartment when he was down on his luck and everything and going through some things, like I said. So it was so crazy, this one episode. Like, the two of them, like, even though they were living together and stuff, like, they always like play pranks and stuff on each other. So the whole episode, it was so like sneaky. They were sneaking around, not sneaking around, I'm saying like they were teasing each other and pranking each other, like, while they were in the hospital and stuff. So it seemed suspicious. Like, everybody was wondering what the heck was going on. Like, you just see them doing random weird things, like, the whole episode. It was funny. It was a funny episode. I liked it. But yeah, so he confessed to her, and then she was like, you know what, you have to move out because you can't be falling for your roommate and all that stuff. And then when he was leaving, when he packed up and he was leaving, she was like, okay. He was like, okay, you really want me to leave? She's like, yeah, I do. And now that you're leaving, was what you said true? Like, she was still trying to ask him if him talking about his feelings for her was true and all that stuff. He's like, yeah, would it change anything? Then she's like, okay, well, now I could do this. And then she just kissed him, and then they started talking a little bit, and then, like I said, she's still a little iffy on the fence about it and everything. So she made it seem like, okay, they're just hooking up, so no feelings involved. Or maybe because of her past or whatever, she was not able to commit, or she committed to people that wasn't really available, right? So she hardened her heart, and now she's telling him, okay, even if we are hooking up, like, I don't want you doing any lovey-dovey stuff with me. Like holding an umbrella, like during the rain and stuff, holding an umbrella, like stuff, different stuff like that, opening the door, being in general. I don't want you to do that. That's what she was saying. And then she was like, you know what, I think we should like look up for other people and all that stuff, so he doesn't catch feelings. That's what she was saying, that she wanted to prevent him from catching feelings. But in reality, she had already caught feelings, and they don't want to say anything at the moment, right? So she's like, yeah, we need to date other people, just to keep it light, keep it fresh, whatever. Well, not light, not fresh, but like light, so that he doesn't catch feelings and all that stuff. And he's like, you know what? Okay, whatever. You're the weirdest girl I know, like, I ever met, whatever. And she's like, I think she said something snarky or something. So later on, this other nurse came, and she was like flirting with him, and then she was like, you know what, she's not the right fit. She's too lovey-dovey like you, so if you get with her, you guys would move in together like real quick, like it would go really fast. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna set you up with a dating app and all that stuff. It was so crazy. So she even set up a dating app, right? And put him on it, put his picture in it, or some fake picture or something. And he was like getting like random like messages from random people and stuff while they were doing surgery and all this stuff. It was crazy. Uh, yeah. So she was saying, yeah, I set it up. Like you didn't know about it yet. So when he was getting all the messages, that's when he found out. That's when she told him, and he was like, you know what, you really want me to do this? I'm gonna do it. And then so the same nurse that she was telling him, she was advising him not to see, because if they do see, like they would get serious really fast. He ended up getting together with her, and then she ended up being a little bit jealous about it. It's like, since they're together now, they can't do anything together. She's like, you know what, you want to be with her, and that means we can't be friends anymore and all that. It was so crazy. So all that in the past, like towards the end of third season into the fourth season, right? And then, or was it the beginning of the fourth season? I think, not 100%. But yeah, anyways, towards the end. So fast forward towards the end, like when they went on the retreat, not a retreat, on the mission to help um when they went over to that country to help the people that can't afford it and everything, can't afford healthcare and all that stuff, and can't travel to the U.S. and all that stuff, right? Uh, the nurse stayed back, like she couldn't go. It was only the surgeons and stuff, and a couple of people. So she ended up going with them, even though she wasn't surgeon, because like I said, she was still like doing like she was still like doing stuff in there. She was head of something. I forgot the name, but she was the head of it, and she's like also like, because she was a former surgeon, she knows a little bit more than the rest of the nurses and stuff, right? So she went and with him and all that stuff. So in the end, like towards when it was finishing, uh, they ended up talking and all that stuff, and like a serious talk. And then he ended up breaking up with the nurse that he had gotten with, right? And she didn't know about it, so he told her, and then that's when I think like they got back together and stuff, or got together for the first time, like actual serious relationship now. What else? So Murphy, you guys know so the way that I ended the last not ended, but the way that I was talking about Murphy being in a relationship with this new girl, right? And the other girl being jealous and everything. I was telling guys how like she was kind of stringing him along and all that stuff. And some people also thought that too, that she was teasing him and making him fall for her, but she never really wanted him. That wasn't, it was, but it wasn't the case at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. So now I said like she was jealous that he finally found someone outside of their friendship who liked him or see him as a man, basically, right? Instead of this disabled person, right? So they went out for a little bit, and it was weird at first in the beginning and everything, because he's an awkward dude, and you guys know, like, even though he's always awkward, she never made him feel that way, right? But she's always friendly with him, and it wasn't much about romantic stuff. It was more a friendship kind of type deal, right? So when this new girl came in, it was more like, hey, you know what? I feel like you're a man, basically, right? And despite all of your shortcomings, like she didn't look at all the shortcomings. She just looked at all of the greatness, his mind basically, right? So all that he's capable of and all that he can do and everything, right? And she's like, yeah, so I had a family member with the same diagnosis and all that stuff. So that's why it's easier to be around or deal with or, maneuver, around him and all that stuff. And he was saying, like, hey, just because I also have the same thing that your family member has doesn't mean we're all the same and all that stuff. So it was like, with that being said, it made me feel like, because she also was talking about how she wanted to try and see how to deal with someone on that level, even though she had a family member. That's a family member, right? But seeing, like, trying to be with someone outside of family members, be around them, be with them, dealing with them when they're not family, was like a challenge to her. So it wasn't much about them being boyfriend and girlfriend, but more like him being a pet project, basically. Oh, that's what they made it out to seem like a little bit. Even though she really liked him. She really loved him. I'm not gonna lie. She really loved him. Because every time his friend hung out with him and all that stuff, she'd get jealous, right? And she would feel like, hey, there's like some type of connection between you two that I just don't have. Even though you guys are saying that you're just friends, like, the friendship part, like, I'm not seeing it. That's why she, like, in her head, like, she's saying, I'm not seeing it because you guys just, like, click together, right? And just have fun. Like, even though the friend was, like, telling her all the time, hey, we're not in a relationship. We don't love each other like that. We're just friends and all that stuff. She kept saying that all the time. She agreed. She said, okay, I understand and all that stuff, right? So, like, they went on like a double date. So the friend and everything, after all that mess and everything, like, she always, like, you guys know she likes hooking up with random people. So she met this guy and they were like, okay, let's do a double date. So on a double date, they did some karaoke and then they were singing together and they were singing together. But then Shawn and the friend sang together and then his girlfriend was looking at them. Like, the way that they were singing together, it was more than them just singing, right? So she looked at them and she's like, you know what? I don't care how many times you guys say that you're just friends. That's not the case. It's not what I'm seeing. And then she was like, you know what? I don't feel like we should be together anymore because I can see the love between you two. It's undeniable and I'm not going to stand in the way of your happiness, right? So she was saying she wanted to let him go because he that's who he truly loved. Or was it like, let me see. So I know she felt that way and then he tried to convince her, hey, we're just friends still and I really love you, not her. She's just my friend. But I know towards the end, like I said on the so within the third season, you guys know there was some kind of an earthquake and stuff, right? Natural disaster, some kind of natural disaster, an earthquake. And even though he was saying that she's his friend, the way, like, they went to an event somewhere in some kind of building and an earthquake hit and then the building collapsed and everything. And then the friend was there as well as a mentor. and the other head doctor of surgery is something in that field. They all were in there, the three of them, and Murphy wasn't there. So when he heard the news about the friend, what's her name, Maria? When he heard about the friend, the two of them saying that they're just friends and nothing more. When he heard about her being in the accident and everything, he rushed over there and he was like looking for her, even though he was supposed to help other people as well. So he was rushing towards her, and like the way that it seemed, they make it seem like she was in such danger, like like impaled or something dangerous, right, was going on with her. But it was actually someone else. So he was like, someone was shouting like, "Hey, help, help, help." So Murphy thought it was her, but it wasn't. So he rushed to her. But when he found her, he saw that it wasn't her, it was someone else. And then, like I said, she was impaled and everything. But the friend, she was actually okay in a separate location, right? Now, the girl was, like I said, impaled and, on the brink of, basically on the brink of death, right? So the building was like unstable and they couldn't get underneath because it was like pretty deep down. So he crawled through all the crawl spaces, whatever, to get to her, thinking that it was a friend because he knew that he loved her more than a friend. And he tried expressing that feeling to her. And she was like, "You know what? I don't want to be a girlfriend to you. I don't think we could be girlfriend and boyfriend because I'm a lot to deal with and all." Like, she was giving a whole speech about why they shouldn't be together and everything. He's like, "I could deal with it. I don't care. We could work it out. Just let me know, and then, I'll fix it. I'll do whatever it takes." She's like, "No, it doesn't work that way," and all that stuff. So all that was before the earthquake and everything. So when he met up with the girl, right, they he came to the conclusion that, there was no way she was gonna be freed from, like, a crowbar or whatever, like, went through her leg, and the only way to take it out, like, they could only take it out medically, like, what's the word, like, they had to be very cautious with the way that they took it out, right? So if they weren't that cautious, she could just like bleed out because the blood would like rush out, like it would be uncontrollable. It wouldn't be able to stop. So the only thing that they could have done, because on top of all that stuff happening, one of the pipe had burst and it was starting to flood, right? And like I said, the building was unstable, so people couldn't, the other firefighters and stuff, they couldn't like get to them in time. They wouldn't be able to get to them in time. So he told her, okay, the only way to save you, instead of trying to free you from the crowbar, trying to pull your leg out of it because you'll bleed out, the only way to free you is to cut off the leg completely, right? So amputate the leg, right? And she was like, oh my God, like, because, they didn't have any like anesthesia or anything to numb the pain and everything. So it was a crazy, scary time within that. But before all that happened, he was talking to her about the friend, about how he was more, or he wanted to be more than friends with her, but she wouldn't, she didn't see it that way, or didn't want to see it that way or whatever. But yes, the way he was talking about her, saying how he really loved her and he would do anything for her and all that stuff. Like, he went into detail, like a really good detail about everything. And she was listening on the radio because it was an open line. So she was listening on the radio because he didn't know that she was rescued yet. He thought she was still in trouble somewhere else. But someone else had found, one of the other firefighters had found her and brought her to safety. And then she had gotten the radio and everything. And it was so crazy. So she was listening to him on the other end about, hey, how much he had loved her. And, all the sweet stuff he was saying to her about her and all that stuff, not knowing that she was listening, right? And that's when she was like, you know what, like this really might work. Like, even though she thought or said before, hey, I can't be your girlfriend, it wouldn't work. Like, I'm allowed to do it. After hearing all the sweet stuff that he was saying about her, she was like, she just changed her mind completely. Like, she always loved him, but she kind of more seen him as a friend, right? Because she's like, okay, as friends, like, we could be together, whatever. But if we're in a relationship, it might change things and we might fall apart and all that stuff. But she, like, all that doubt and everything, yeah, it just completely gone when he was like talking about her and all that stuff, saying all the stuff about her. So when he was talking to the girl, like I said, the pipe burst and everything. So it was starting to flood, like really fast. Like the pipe had burst and the water was flowing like immense, like intensely, right? So she was saying, you know what? Because her being there in the first place, she was like stuck in someone else. So she was saying how she had to move on because the guy that she liked didn't really like her back. She came over to the party, like in the building and everything. Like they had a party. It was a fundraiser, but like a party basically, right? She was saying that she was there to meet up with someone to tell him how she feels about it, even though he already knew how she feels about him, she feels like they should get back together and all that stuff. And he was like, no, I don't want that and all that stuff. And then all of the disaster happened. So they didn't end up being together or anything. And she was saying how she always tried and all that stuff, but she was telling Murphy how, just like how she should stop, trying to pursue him because it's unattainable, right? Like, there's no way he would ever fall for her in that way. She was saying how Murphy should give up on the friend, or wanting the friend to be more than friends, right? And then that's when he was stuck in the sweet stuff, and then she was listening and all that stuff, right? So with the pipe that being burst and everything, yeah, like I said, the building was unstable, so no one could get to them. She was saying how she felt pathetic and all that stuff, and her life didn't matter and all that stuff. He was like, you know what, I don't care. Don't even say that stuff, right? I'm going to save you. Like, that's how he was saying. Like, he was, like, confident in himself. So, you know what? He said, you know what? Instead of trying to get you off of the crowbar, let's just amputate the leg. And then before that, she was saying how he could just, like, go. Like, instead of staying there and waiting for her to die, like, just leave, right? And save himself. And he's like, no. And then that's when he made the speech. And then, he was like, he seemed a little manly and all that stuff. And encouraging and all that stuff. So she was on the phone, she was on the radio, walkie-talkie, listening to everything. So she was like, yeah, I want you to go. Like, even though the girl was like, yeah, you should go and save yourself, the friend was like, yeah, come, leave her, come to me. Well, like, in her head, like, she didn't say anything. Oh, no. Yeah, no. And then after a while, she said something, and then that's when he knew that she was safe and all that stuff. And then he was saying all that stuff about, amputated leg and saving her and all that stuff. And then the water had rose up to a level, it was a good level and everything. So he had this saw and he had to take her leg, and then she was in pain and all that stuff. Like, it was gruesome. Well, it was They didn't show everything. Like as soon as he started to saw at the bone and everything, and it went to the another clip to someone else. Someone else helping someone else, whatever. But then when they came back to them, it was done and everything. But you could see, like, right before they switch over, he went down, he held his breath and he went down. She just started screaming, and then they switched over. So when they came back, she was like, Shawn, the friend was like, Shawn, are you there? Are you there? Are you okay? Because he had to go underwater, so he couldn't, like, communicate anymore. So she thought she lost them. She thought both of them had passed, right? And I died and everything. But because she was like shouting, Shawn, 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 like on the phone, like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Are you safe? Where are you? All that stuff, like, it was intense. So that whole moment, it was really like, it was a tearjerker. Like, if you were really into it like that, like, you would have cried in that moment. Like, seriously, it was really good. Like, I liked that whole scene. I really liked it. I should yeah, I'm gonna put some of them on my TikTok so you guys could see. Hopefully they don't, like, take it down or anything, or block it or anything. Yeah. So I'm gonna put some of them on the TikTok, and you guys know it'll all be in the description below. You guys could follow me there and go watch it from there, right? Yeah. So when they went back on him, when they skipped the scene to someone else and they went back to him, they saw that he had saved the girl. He had amputated her leg, and he saved her. The rest of the firefighters pulled her up, and then the friend was looking like, where's Shawn? Where's Shawn? And he came up after. And then I think she ran to him and jumped in his arms and stuff and hugged him and all that stuff. And that's when she was like, you know what? I think, was it then or was an episode after that? She was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Everything I said before about us not being able to be more than friends, just forget about all that. And in that moment, like, they just got together and kissed, and I think that was the end of the scene. It was a really good scene, a really good episode. I really liked it, even though there was so much loss in that episode. Like, there was a lot of gain too. You know what I'm saying? So it was really good. Really good. I really liked it. Yeah. So towards the end of everything, right? She proposed to him. It was so crazy. It was really weird. But before all that, they had conceived a child, but it didn't. There was so much stress and different stuff like that. So she ended up losing the baby, and then she was in a funk for a little while. He wasn't sure what to do. He talked to other people to try to get advice on how to cheer her up and all that stuff. But the main thing was that he wasn't grieving with her, right? Even though he wasn't grieving in the same way that she was. Or wasn't there for her in the way that she wanted him to be there, because of his case and everything. So it was unable. He wasn't able to show the emotion she needed, but he got it towards the end, and then, like I said, fast forward and everything. Oh, even when they went on the trip. So before they went on the trip, he was still. Wait, hold on. I'm mixing up everything. Before he went on the trip, he was still with the other girl, but instead of not that trip. Sorry. So going on that trip, they had ended it already. But before that, he had went on a separate trip to visit his dying father, his sick father, right? So instead of taking the girlfriend, he took the friend, and it was like, by the time he got back, she was like feeling some kind of way because he's like, hey, you're going to see your father. This is the last time you're going to see him. Why didn't you take your girlfriend with you to see your father and everything? But his father wasn't the best father anyway. And yet, at the time, it wasn't a time to show off his girl, right? It was more of a time for healing and forgiveness, because his father was really bad to him, really mean, really abusive to him when he was younger. So he didn't need to show him a girlfriend, right? His mentor took him there, or asked him to come, advised him to go to talk to him because it was his final day, whatever, right? But the friend was like, hey, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do and all that stuff. You can do whatever you want to do. And she took him to the lake and tried to go streaking, and then tried faking being drowned there just to have him come in because he wasn't able. He wasn't willing to go into the lake with her, so she pretended. And then by the time he like took his shoes off, his socks off, and about to go in, she couldn't hold her breath long enough, and then she laughed. He's like, hey, that's not funny. You don't pretend to drown because, that's serious, right? And then he got upset. He went to the room and everything. And then the following day, his mentor was saying, hey, so the day before, he was like saying, I forgive you, to his father and everything for all the stuff the bad stuff the stuff that he did to him, right? And then he was blaming him because he was saying, oh, if you guys didn't run away, or if you didn't have this condition, you would never feel the need to run away, and your brother would never feel the need to follow after you because you always looked out for him. His brother was his best friend and everything. So anytime he was in trouble, his older brother would, be there for him and everything. So him feeling some type of way, like he was saying, oh, I was mad and I did this stuff to you because I was mad that I couldn't help you in the way that you needed. Like, I couldn't give you what you needed or whatever. And that's what he was saying. But it was a lame excuse, right? So I know, what was it? I think it was cancer or something. Whatever sickness that he had, it messed with his head. So even though he was apologetic, he was still blaming him for his brother passing away, because when they ran away, they went into some kind of abandoned building for training and everything, and then it slipped off. His brother slipped off of it and everything. That's when he, So he was saying that because they ran away, it was because of him and all that stuff. So it was his fault that his brother is no longer with them and everything. And then he was like really upset about everything. So he ran outside, and then he went back to the hotel, and he was thinking to himself about all the stuff that his dad was saying before he passed and everything. And it was really upsetting to him. So he was like hitting himself. And then the friend came in, and she held him tight. She held him and said, hey, don't do that. Like, don't listen to whatever he said. Like, don't even pay attention to that. She just held him close and said, I'm here for you, I'm here. And they switch over. So it ended. It ended with her holding him, right? And then in the next episode, they woke up together, and so they slept in the same bed, but she only held him to stop him, to prevent him from hitting himself, right? And so they woke up, and then she was like, you know what, I don't think we should tell anybody that we both slept in the same bed. He's like, okay. And then she's like, okay, because I don't want anybody get the wrong idea, because I know you still have a girlfriend and everything. And that's when, so you walked out you walked out of the hotel room, and he told the mentor, hey, we just slept together. And then the mentor was thinking, you guys sleeping together? Like, he's like, no, I didn't mean like that. I just meant like literally just slept in the same bed, clothes on and everything, so nothing happened. And she just held him and all that stuff. And he's like, okay. So later on, he was saying that he shouldn't tell. Was it him that was saying that he shouldn't tell the girlfriend about it? But it wasn't him or one of the other friends, either Claire or the other one. Someone was saying, hey, you shouldn't tell her, the girlfriend, about it. But he still ended up telling her about it because, he doesn't like keeping secrets. He doesn't like lying and stuff to her. Anybody, right? So he always skips it and tries to with everybody. So after he told her, I think what's that when she broke up with him, or told him that she can't deal, or it was at some point that she was saying, you know what, I don't understand why you didn't ask me to come with you instead of her. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, how they have some kind of connection that they would never have together and all that stuff. And he was saying how she held him so close, so tight and everything. But when he and his girlfriend was trying to get together in the beginning, like, it was so hard for them to touch, even if it's just a finger, just touching on his shoulder or something. Like, it was so hard for them to connect in that level, but it was so easy for him and the friend to just like get that close without him feeling uncomfortable. And all that was playing in her head, like how will this ever work? If this person could easily do something that takes them weeks or months to do and all that stuff, because they try different stuff, different therapy, different things, to try to make that level of connection better and all that stuff. So even though they were struggling with everything, like, it was so easy for them to just do it, just do whatever, right? All that stuff was like triggering to her, and just add it up and piled up and all that stuff. So in the end, she was like, yeah, it wouldn't work. I don't want to be with you anymore and all that stuff. And then that's when she was saying how he should definitely go to the friend and say, hey, like, express his love for the friend. Like, it's more than friendship and all that stuff. That he needed to let her know, you couldn't just keep it in and all that stuff. But he was scared to do it because he didn't want her to reject him as a result, right? So that's when he hesitated. But then towards the end, he ended up doing it. And then that's when she was saying, hey, I don't want to be more than friends because I'm a lot to deal with and all that stuff. And all that was before the disaster hit and all that stuff. And then after the disaster, like I said, all that stuff happened, and then ended up still getting together and all that stuff. And then later on, having a kid, or not having a kid yet, but like getting pregnant and losing the baby and all that stuff. And then her being depressed, him feeling bad that she felt depressed and all that stuff, and wasn't able to do anything in the moment. Later on was able to help her. And then towards the end, her proposing and all that stuff. So that's what I was talking about, how I don't feel like it should have ended, because Claire's in this new place. She proposed to Murphy, and just a whole bunch of stuff. Those two got together, and it was just a lot. Oh, and this I think like 2 or 3 episodes with just the new guy coming in and everything, right? It was so crazy. So the Asian guy, like I said, he was from this other show guy I watched before, Hawaii 5-0. The Asian guy with the sister and everything. The two of them was on the show for a little bit and then they left. So it was surprising to see him on that show. And towards the end, like, he was telling everybody how he challenged Murphy in a way that none of them did. Like, like, even though they were saying that, he's a prodigy and all that stuff with his mental state, with his condition, like, it wasn't easy for him to connect, with patients and all that stuff. So he challenged him, tried to get him to do more and all that stuff. And it backfired a little bit. So it didn't work out the way everybody wanted it to work out. And then towards the end of him being in the season and everything, like I said, it only lasted like a few episodes. It was so crazy, but Murphy, like, he was like a little bit aggressive and all that stuff. Or I want to say aggressive, a little bit assertive, I want to say. Because the guy was saying how he would fit better in a different department. He's like, no, I'm a surgeon. That's what I do. That's what I wanted to do. It's always what I wanted to do. And all that stuff, right? But he was saying because of your unique skills, you would be better in this other department, like a whole lot better. And then he was expressing how after Murphy had helped like several people, several patients, he was saying, oh, you see exactly what I mean, exactly what I'm trying to say, how with you being in this department, you reach out to a whole lot more people without actually being in their presence. So you know how surgeons have to talk to their patients and all that stuff, or the parents of the patients, different stuff like that, or the spouse of the parents of or the spouse of the patient and all that stuff. So instead of being there, you would be like the person doing the research to prep for the surgery and all that stuff, or the research before the surgery and all that stuff, right? And while the surgery going on, before, after the surgery, whatever. So he dealt with it. He did it for a few episodes, and then later on he was like, you know what, I don't care. Like, he was like talking to other people, like, hey, can you convince him to put me back in this department of surgery and all that stuff? He was like, there's nothing I could do. Like, everybody was like saying, hey, just like deal with it, or speak up, make your point known and all that stuff. And he was like really, really trying to sell it, like, hey, I'm a surgeon. I know I have social issues and all that stuff I'm working on, but I am a surgeon and I want to do surgeries. Like, I don't want to just do research. I want to reach out to patients. I want to grow and learn more about it and all that stuff. And he was like, no, I'm not gonna let you. And this is exactly why, like, he was like expressing to him how he shouldn't be so forward with him, right? Like, how he's his boss. So there's some level of respect that he's owed, basically. And he was saying, if you don't accept these terms, how it would have to call it security and all that stuff, because he's being like too assertive and all that stuff. So he would have to call security, and then calling security would mean that he would lose the job and all that stuff. So he ended up getting fired. He was so pissed off that he when he's taking his bag out of the locker, he like just scattered everything, just like trash, overflow, like everything just spread all over the floor and everything. And then Claire came in and she helped him pack it up and everything, and then it was so crazy. But a lot went down. Like a lot went down. I didn't want too much time to pass. Like I said before in the last episode, how not in the last episode. I'm saying in the last video that I made, how I was just this month was just gonna just swing by like super fast, right? And now June just ended yesterday, and today is now the 1st of July, right? You guys know the best month of the year finally here. Okay, so thanks to that, thank you God, obviously. Happy 1st, everybody. Happy 1st of July. And yeah, I'm sure the 4th is gonna come by in a blink of an eye, just like snap, just like that. But yeah, so happy 1st. I'm not sure if I'm gonna. Not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I know last year I said I was gonna not do the same thing that I did, where I recorded every day, but instead I might do something every week. I don't know. Maybe not. If I'm feeling up to it, I don't know. Either that or I'll just continue this editing of the other videos I know I have in storage. And just like post those. I'm finally done editing them. This supposed to be pretty cool. Anyways, that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, I'll put stuff in the description, and I'll also post some stuff on my TikTok. Okay, so you guys can see that for yourself, guys. Like, it's some really cool moments, right? So yeah, I'll see you guys then. And yeah, check me out over there. Hit me up in the links in the description and everything. Comment down below, everything, whatever. You guys watched it, let me know. If you haven't, you should definitely check it out. Okay, The Good Doctor, definitely. And then I started to watch a couple other things that it was just weird. Like, there's some really weird shows out there now on Netflix, on HBO, different stuff. Some really good ones, but some really weird ones. It was so crazy. But yeah, so I'll catch you guys on the next one. Okay, peace. Oof.